Hello, Colonel Hunter, and those who have now found this channel. I hope that you've stuck around long enough to hear my video reply to Colonel Hunter, because I've had some hateful mail from some of my subscribers, some of Colonel Hunter's subscribers, and trolls alike. So I want to address something that has been brought up many times, okay? And that is the let me just read this comment to you. I don't believe that it should be done at all. I can't go into a packed movie theater and scream fire. That isn't freedom of speech. But hey, that's my opinion. And you know what they say about opinions. I'm with you on the Constitution and everything, just not on this issue. I don't think it falls under the first. Sorry. Alright, well, it does fall under the first. Now, yelling fire in a crowded... I'm sorry, my opinion on the Westboro Baptist does fall under the First Amendment. So, let's talk about let's talk about yelling fire in a crowded theater, which has been done. Schenck v. United States. Charles Schenck was a socialist fella during the World War I who was said, quote, do not submit to intimidation, assert your rights. If you do not assert and support your rights, you are helping to deny or disparage rights, which is the solemn duty of all citizens and residents of the United States to retain. So for these and other statements, similar, he was indicted under the Espionage Act of 1917 and was convicted, and he went to a prison. So let me read what you are quoting now, but in full. The most stringent protection of free speech would not protect a man in falsely shouting fire in a theater and causing panic. The question in every case is whether the words are used in such a circumstance and are of such nature to create a clear and present danger that they bring about the substantive evils that Congress has a right to prevent. Now let's fast forward here to Brandenburg v. Ohio. It held that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless it is directed to inciting and likely to incite imminent lawless action. Specifically, it struck down Ohio's criminal syndicalism statute because the statute broadly prohibited the mere advocacy of violence. Now, Clarence Brandenburg was a real winner as well. Alright? He was a Ku Klux Klan member. Kind of a douchebag. Alright, let's talk about the decision. The U.S. Supreme Court reversed Brandenburg's conviction. He was convicted for saying some hateful things on a radio station, holding that the government cannot constitutionally punish abstract advocacy of force or law violation. Let's take a look at Dennis v. the United States. These later decisions here, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, have fashioned that the principle that the constitutional guarantees of free speech and free press do not permit a state to forbid or prescribe advocacy of the use of force or of law violation, except where such advocacy is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action, and is likely to incite or produce such action. So, now that we're done examining the roots of your assertion here, that the freedom to yell fire in a crowded theater is not true, I don't see how saying, okay, yelling fire in a crowded theater is not free speech, and how you're comparing that to a lawful action, you're comparing a lawless action to a lawful action. That which is standing with a sign, or talking on a megaphone, or what the Westboro Baptist people do. I don't know what they do, because I don't really care. But, so, I'm not sure how we're comparing lawful and lawlessness. So, that's not really, you're kind of comparing apples and oranges here. I think that what we need to do is take a step back from the situation and say, let's remove for a second the emotion from it. Is it upsetting that the Westboro Baptist people, what they do? Absolutely. Is it right? No, I don't think so. It doesn't make it right just because it's lawful. But it doesn't mean that I have the right to suppress their right to say whatever they want on public property. If these folks that are having these funerals want privacy, then they should hold the funerals on private property, or hold the funeral at a place in which they can limit who can come there, which would be private property. There is no expectation of privacy on public property. And for these supposed liberty-minded folks that are against what I'm saying here, you know, you've completely sidestepped the slippery slope argument. It is a slippery slope. We are having our rights eroded. So the other thing that people are saying is defamation, slander. That's not free speech. No, it's not. Let's look at what the definition of that is. Generally speaking, defamation is the issuance of a false statement about another person, which calling someone a fag would be false if they're not a fag, right? which causes that person to suffer harm. What harm is suffered by being called a fag by some idiots with signs? What harm is suffered? Is there an articulable harm? Oh, are your feelings hurt? Really? Because now your argument's suspiciously starting to sound like a libtard. Are you a libtard? I think that people get emotional. People get too emotional about this stuff. Alright? 99% of the people that I block and the trolls on my stuff, if I were able to sue them for the slanderous things that they say about me, or the death threats, I mean, the death threats I guess I could, but why bother when they're so fun? Yeah, I mean, no, I couldn't, because there's no articulable damage. There's no damage to my character. If someone were to make a video on here that was damaging to my character, that was false, then I would have the ability to sue, to bring suit to those who would damage my character. And this is for Habib and some other people that I've recently blocked. It was a guy named Habib that I blocked. There's a fundamental misunderstanding of what the First Amendment is. The freedom of speech in the First Amendment protects you from your government. That's what that protection is for. It has absolutely nothing to do with my relationship with you, or your relationship with someone else that's not in government. If I block you off my channel, it's because I don't want to talk to you anymore. And that, my friends, is not me hating the First Amendment or free speech. That's me hating you.